Hello, my dear friends. We are very excited to be able to continue our daily study of Rambam after over a week that we have not been continuing with the classes because of Hurricane Sally, which came along and knocked out our internet and Wi-Fi, and we were not able to continue our daily classes. But here we are, back to our daily study of the Rambam of Maimonides. So, we are in middle of learning the laws of prayer, and on the daily cycle of Rambam, we learned this since we learn a chapter every day. It's a worldwide study of Rambam. It's not just us little guys are studying it on our own, but rather there is a worldwide participation in this cycle that goes on for 3 years. So this chapter was learned last Wednesday. So we are a little bit behind, and we're going to catch up over the next couple days. We're going to try to do more than one chapter a day. We're going to keep them condensed, short, and to the point, so that everyone can catch up and we can get on with it and come back to where the rest of the world is holding, which is 7 chapters ahead from where we are right now. So, chapter 7 of the Laws of Prayers, here it goes. When the sages instituted the various prayers, they also instituted various prayers that we should, and blessings that we should say throughout. For instance, when a person goes to sleep, there is a blessing which is said when we go to sleep. We're asked from God that we should have a good night's sleep and we should sleep healthily, and when we wake up it should be in a good way, and we should have no bad dreams, etc. And then we also recite the Shema before we go to sleep. And even if a person is really, really very tired and is about to fall asleep, you should at least say one verse of the first verse of the Shema. Then when we wake up in the morning, so then we should thank God for giving us back our soul. So we thank God that He gave us back our soul, that He preserved it for us throughout the night, because it says that when we go to sleep during the night, our soul goes up and gets back stronger life from God, and then God gives it us back in the morning. And then the Rambam says that throughout the various steps of what we do when we get up in the morning, then we should say various blessings. So for instance, he says that when we hear our alarm clock, which was the chicken, the rooster back in the day would wake everyone up in the morning at dawn, so then we should say the blessing, "Blessed are you, God, that has given the rooster the ability of differentiate between day and night." And then when we put on our clothes, we should say a blessing that God gives us clothing. And then when we open our eyes and we wipe away the sleep from our eyes, we should say a blessing thanking God that He makes us be able to see. And then when we sit onto our bed and we're able to get up, we make the blessing that He gets us standing, and that we are not bound. And then when we get up and we stand up, we say, we thank God for making us being able to stand, and so on and so forth. Various blessings that we say throughout the day when we get up. Then when we go, afterwards we go to the restroom, once we are getting up, we thank God that we are able to have a way to relieve ourselves, to be able to be alive and well. And then there's a blessing when we put on our belt, that God girds Israel with strength. And then when we start walking in our way, we thank God for. And we have so these are various blessings that we do in the morning. So you can open a prayer book and you can actually see them all in there in the morning prayer. Then we have so all of these blessings, the Rambam says, don't actually have a specific order, but rather they are according to how you come to them in your daily schedule. So then that's when you're going to actually make the prayer. So, for instance, and the Rambam says that and if you don't come to do this thing, in other words, there's a blessing for putting on clothing. When we put on clothing, we should thank God for our clothing. Or when we put on shoes, we should thank God that we have shoes to wear. But if a person doesn't wear shoes, then the Rambam says, then you shouldn't be making that blessing. Or for instance, on the day of Tisha B'Av, on a fast day, or Yom Kippur, when we're not allowed to wear leather clothing, so then with leather shoes, so then we don't make that blessing. And so if a person hasn't gone to the bathroom, so then they won't say the blessing of going to the restroom. And The Rambam says that there is a custom where many people say these blessings in the synagogue after they have done all these things. They do it later on, and the Rambam said this is not the right way to do it, but rather the person should only say it when they actually do it, if they do it. The truth is, and I'll mention over here, that the law is not actually according to the Rambam. The halacha which is accepted, the way that all Jewish people today, is that we do everything on our own, in our room, we get ready, and so on and so forth. We do everything, and then afterwards, we say all the blessings in one shot. So the halacha, the actual law, is not according to the way the Rambam says it over here, that you do it while you are doing the various actions. Rather, the law is that we do it all at once after everything. When a person comes to study Torah, so then we say the blessing of the study of the Torah. There are actually 3 blessings where we thank God and we say how He sanctified us and commanded us in regards to studying of Torah, and that He chose us from the nations, and we have the Torah that He gave to us and to our children. So that's a very special set of blessing. And then after we say these blessings, so then we should say some words of the Torah, some verses of the Torah. Because we just said a blessing on the Torah, so we should say some words of Torah. And now the Rambam continues to discuss the order of the prayer. In other words, we come to the morning prayer, so we've said the morning blessings, these various blessings. Now we come to actually do the actual prayer. So now the Rambam says that to read the last couple Psalms in the book of Psalms is a very positive thing. So we read that, which is the prayer of Ashrei, if you're familiar with it. And then we have the blessing of Yishtabach, which is where we praise God. And then we recite the Shema. And we also read, there's some places that have the custom of reading the song that the Jewish people sang after they crossed the sea, which is called Az Yashir, which is another prayer. And after that we do the Amida. So that's the setup and the order of the prayer. Now, the bottom line is, the Rambam says like this: a person is supposed to there is an idea that a person should say 100 blessings every single day. So in the morning we have a whole bunch of blessings that we do. Then we have the prayers, where we have some more blessings. Then we have the Amida, which is the height of the prayer, where we also say more blessings. And various blessings throughout our day are all going to accumulate to the number 100. And if it's a time that you don't have so many blessings, for instance on Shabbat, the Amida is shorter, it's not as long, so therefore there are less blessings. So therefore a person should eat extra fruits and make a blessing before and afterwards, which would then add up to the number 100. So that's, in general, it's a special thing to come to say 100 blessings every single day. And so that's the morning prayer. Then we have the afternoon prayer, which is we recite the Ashrei, which is a psalm in Psalms, one chapter in Psalms, and then we say the Amida. And then in the evening we have the Arvit, which is the evening prayer, and over there we make the blessings before, we recite the Shema, and then we recite the blessings after the Shema, and then again we recite the Amida. We ask from God for everything that we need, and that is the order of the blessings throughout the day. So the Rambam gives us a very condensed, in one chapter, tells us basically everything that we do, all the various prayers and blessings that we do throughout the day, in a very straightforward form. And that is the chapter which we are learning today, chapter 7 of the Laws of Blessings. All the best, my friends.